Hello, everyone. I know that I just recorded my introduction, but this video is actually going to be about a most recent experience that I feel very much, very much obliged to share with you guys. Um, my son is now 3 months old. I have two boys, one that's 2 and one that's 3 months old. So, at any rate, when I was in the hospital, I was under a lot of stress because, okay, I know that it was wrong of me to feel um that okay, I have one son, I really want to have a girl. Yes, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever wanted the other sex when you have one of one, you want the other next. Anyway, I was kind of upset that I was having another boy. Now, of course, I'm totally happy about that. I've always been happy about it since I heard his, cry, and otherwise, I mean, I was happy before too, but I was just kind of like not really totally set on the idea. I was like, okay, I've got to see him come out and know that he's really a boy before I really, accept it. I wanted to know for sure before I, you know, I guess totally was at one with the whole thing. Um, we have a great relationship, great bond. I'm breastfeeding. I am a stay at home mother, and I really enjoy that he's a boy. I really do because him and his brother get along amazing. Um, and I know that they're going to be best friends. But anyway, back to the point. Um, I was stressed out about that. I was also stressed about the fact that my first son was a C-section, and I wanted this time to do things naturally. I wanted to have a normal birth experience, and I've heard how difficult having a natural birth can be after the second child is also a C-section. Like most doctors really wouldn't want to do that. I have heard it's possible, and I've known some people who have done it, but I was already in labor. At least I was feeling like I was in labor because I was going through the throwing up. I was having like a lot of pains the night before I went into the hospital and everything. So I was really like feeling confident that I was going to be able to have him naturally. But anyway, I got to the hospital and found out that I actually wasn't going to be able to deliver him naturally because they did a stress test, or I think it's called a non-stress test, and they said that he was seeming like he wasn't very responsive to, I guess, signals that were going into my stomach. He wasn't responding the way that they would have liked for them to decide that he could stay in. So they scheduled me for a C-section, and I was feeling really kind of down and kind of sad about that. And I went ahead and went to check into the hospital and everything. And while we were in there, my husband came in, and I kept getting like, I think it was contractions because it was pretty painful. Um, but my first pregnancy, I really didn't get to experience that because he was born like 3 days after his due date, so I really didn't start going into any kind of labor or any kind of pains before they decided like to kind of progress it and go into a C-section. But this time, excuse me, sorry, I ate a little bit ago. But anyway, yeah, but this time, they decided that it would be better if they, you know, well, actually, they didn't decide it would be better. I requested that we wait, and they gave me a maximum of 2 weeks before they would make me have to go in to get a C-section again. So anyway, his due date was October. No, not October. I'm sorry. It was September 27th, and I went into the doctor on October 3rd. And like I said before, they did the non-stress test. Then I checked in, and while me and my husband were sitting there, we made the decision to go ahead and have my tubes tied. We said, you know, this is a lot that we're going through. We're really stressed out. I was in a lot of pain. My husband was kind of stressed out, thinking like he doesn't really know if he wants to have more kids, and if so, he doesn't know anytime soon. We were both pretty comfortable with the fact that two is good. We're comfortable, and that'd probably be it. And plus, I really was feeling like I said, kind of down about having another boy, and I was feeling like, what if the next one would be a boy too? I just wouldn't want to be that person. Like I felt like I don't want to be that person that's constantly chasing after the idea of having, a certain sex of a child and then keep having the other one. And I felt like maybe I would become some kind of like dissatisfied person because of the children. Well, now that I know, I mean, it's not that I didn't know, but like God has really been showing me that, you know, every child is a blessing. Like this is something I knew, but I guess I wasn't really believing it. Like every child is a blessing regardless of who they are, what they come out to be, how they look, anything. Like every child is a blessing, and basically that um it's not us that decide our life or where we go or what we do or what happens. Like that's me trying to plan my life. Like if I was God, I would say, okay, here's a boy first and then here's your daughter. But like God's plan said, okay, he wants me to have a boy and then have another boy, which at this point I'm like totally fine with that. I'm totally great with that. And I've just felt like, what if God has, like, what if His plan was to give me all boys, or give me two boys and then girl, or, like, I have absolutely no clue because it's not my plan. Like, my story's already been written by God, like, what He wants for me. And I just kind of was like realizing that, even if I was to have another child and it was a boy, I will be totally happy and excited about anything that God gives me because I decided a long time ago that it's not my life to live. It's God just working through me, and I'm just a vessel for Him. And, you know, if I'd rather live the life that He has for me than any life I could try to plan for myself. So, again, I'm sorry I went off on another tangent, but, like I said, we made the decision to have my tubes tied. So, when we had made that request to the doctor, um, I was kind of taken back because I felt like she judged us because she was like, "Oh, you can't do that," assuming that we had um, like Medicaid, which there's no knock to that because my first son was actually born having Medicaid because my husband was in college. I had just gotten out of the army because I decided to get out after realizing that when my first son would have been 6 months old, that I would have to get out of the army. Not get out. I'm so sorry. Like my mind is like not totally on this. I'm watching a little TV, but anyway, I would have to go to Afghanistan when he was 6 months old. So after lots of prayer and just really trusting the Lord, really, my husband and I decided it would be best if I get out of the army and come live with him. And he finished college, which, I mean, all these things is just totally trusting God because we had no idea how good he was going to do in school. We had no idea of anything, but we just knew that we were putting God first, trusting him, and feeling like it'd be better for us to be together than for us to be separated with some sort of security of having a job, even if it's not, I don't know. We just made that decision, and it was the right decision for us. But anyway, man, explaining all these things is making me kind of forget. um right, so we requested a my tubes to get tied, and she assumed that we were on Medicaid. And the law for when you're on Medicaid is that you can't get your tubes tied unless you've made, I think, 30 days of prior of that decision. And of course, we just made that decision while I'm sitting here on the bed in labor. So anyway, when I told her that, if she could check because we do have, insurance that we're paying for and stuff like that, she went and checked and came back with the papers for me to sign. So I signed in like maybe two places, and then she left, and that was pretty much it. So time progresses, and I go. By the way, I had never previously talked to any of my doctors. Yeah, I'll see multiple doctors because I was actually seeing like midwives for my pregnancy because I was hoping for to give birth naturally, and that's the most supportive team that you can pretty much have is midwives because they don't really try and perform surgeries and stuff like that. Like a doctor is going to be more fast to express an interest in getting a C-section. So anyway, that kind of didn't really happen. But anyway, I was never talked to about types of birth control or other options or anything. And I also wasn't told like how the procedure goes, side effects, like absolutely nothing. I had never Googled it on my own time. It was actually something that I never had considered before. Like even my husband would talk about vasectomy for him. I was like, no, because it's too permanent. Like I don't want this to be what we do. So anyway, I was in stress. I made a decision that I was not ready to make, but yeah, at the end of the day, we got into the operating room. The doctor took my son out, and I was in that moment, and I was feeling like some stress and nervousness about the next step, which was going to be to tie my tubes. And the doctor was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said yes. I said yes because I didn't want to say I'm not sure because I really wanted to turn and ask my husband, like, is this what you want to do? Because I really wasn't 100% on, like, are you sure, like, this is what we want to do? And I was pretty confident that he'd say yes, and I really didn't want to appear to be, like, wavy or, wavering on the situation when she's right there with my stomach cut open and, all that. So I just thought it would be awkward. So I said yes, simply yes. And, then she began to do it. But, like, within by the time I got home from the hospital with my son, I was just like looking up things and just really feeling like I had made a mistake or I had done the wrong thing. But now I'm feeling like the reason that that happened is because God wanted me to bring some sort of attention to like what we're doing as people. Like everywhere I've looked, people are regretting getting their tubes tied, and I feel like there's not enough being explained about it before we're making this decision in our life. And I think for my personal case, I'm thinking that that may be illegal, that I was never given a counseling about it. But I have contacted a lawyer and I've actually wrote emails to the two governors. Actually, is it governors or senators? One of the two. I wrote two letters and am hoping to get a response back about a request for there to be a law, because I think that it's not really fair that if you have Medicaid that you have to have 30 days previous. But I think that even if you don't have that, that it should be a better way of coming up with a decision. But anyway, I'm recording this on with a 15-minute limit on here, and it's getting close. So anyway, I think I've pretty much said most of it. But again, leave me any comments or questions or anything that you guys may want to ask or talk about or anything. But love you guys, and I hope you enjoy watching this video.